Hey guys, what's up? Austin Smith here with a review of a travel Xiangqi set. Xiangqi is Chinese chess. I probably am not pronouncing that particularly right, but I am an American, and English and Chinese do not mix well at all. I'm sure there's some other languages that would make pronouncing Chinese a bit easier knowing, but I cannot pronounce it very well. Also, it's spelled Xiangqi, which is a very strange. Anyway, here's the box, as you can see. It is almost entirely in Chinese on that side, but you turn it around and it's Chinese chess. Magnetic folding board, exquisite, easy carry. Perhaps it is a bit big, but yes, it is very easy to carry. Instructions on how to use, that is a lie. There are no instructions contained in this box. There is just a piece of plastic that once held the board, and unless the instructions are very cleverly hidden inside the board somewhere, there were no instructions in the box when I got it. International standard, good materials and modern colors, whatever. This usually is sold from Yellow Mountain Imports or something like them. I don't know the company that makes it. UB appears to be their logo. Yeah, I have no idea there. It's a Chinese company. They do make chess, Chinese chess, Japanese chess, and Korean chess sets. They might make more, I don't know, but they make this particular type of chess set, which is fairly common enough to run into online if you're looking for travel Chinese chess sets. And they're all good quality. They don't have instructions, as I said, but that if you can just learn the stuff online, it's not particularly hard to find instructions for such games, so that's not a big deal. Suitable for 2 people, magnetic board, it folds, and it's suitable for children over 6 years if they want to learn Chinese characters. The box, like I say, other than that, is very simple. Put it off to the side and look at the set here. You have a very sturdy plastic case. You got plastic hinges here which might wear over time, but I think are going to be fairly good. You have obviously a metal top here because the pieces are magnetic. You have a nice clasp here. This clasp can come undone, but it doesn't open accidentally, and it closes very securely for how easy it opens. But it can be removed. So it's not the most sophisticated of clasp mechanism, but it works. You open it up and you get 2 Altoids tins. These don't actually come with it. These are pieces that I made that have Western style characters on them, so that you can play with people who don't know the Chinese characters just on the nice board, and they happen to fit in here very well in these Altoids tins. So you don't actually get those. What you actually get is this, which is an interesting, very cheap plastic case that holds all of the checkers that the pieces are printed on. They're essentially checkers. They're not quite checkers, but the pieces in this size, I don't know about the larger or the smaller sizes, but in this size the magnet is kind of flimsily encased in there, and the plastic does not feel the sturdiest, but it also isn't bending and it's not breaking. There's nothing you should be doing to this game that will cause these pieces any harm. They should last for a long time. So we'll flip the board over and I will set the board up and we can see. Alright, so here we have the board set up. I might have the pieces a bit the wrong way around in some places, just because I don't understand the Chinese characters fully. My memory's a bit fuzzy, but I do know what the pieces are. You might. One of the main differences from Western chess, obviously, is that the pieces are just Chinese characters written on little discs, which makes it a bit harder to learn. There are some sets, like this one over here, that have a Chinese character on one side and a picture on the other. They are few and far between, though. So most of them you'll just have to learn the Chinese characters, but obviously I have this set if I don't want to do that. So one of the other things that this set doesn't do particularly well is, in regular Chinese chess, there's almost every piece has a subtle difference to it, comparison to the sides, because traditionally the pieces were just carved into wood and didn't have any coloring to them. So the only way to differentiate the sides was to have different markings for either side. Of course they were similar, but they were just different enough that you could tell. Now that these are colored, there are some simplifications. For instance, the Chariot, which is akin to the Rook on both sides, is virtually identical. so is, or is identical, and so is the horse. And I believe, nope, the cannon is slightly different. The cannon, although almost looks the same, but it is slightly different. You can tell, though, by this character here, which cannon is which. I believe it's cannon and catapult are the words. These both mean soldier. These are probably the most different in this particular set. So there are the two soldiers. I don't know if I think it goes this way. Anyway, they're the two soldiers on either side. Those are akin to pawns. And actually there's another. This is probably the most different. Actually, I lied. The most different piece. This is the elephant, and this is the minister. So this is sort of a Chinese pun, where the word elephant and minister are said the same in Chinese, but they're written differently. And the elephant and minister move the same in the game. But this is probably the most different. They're just completely different characters. The kings are also fairly different, so I'll show you a comparison there in a second. These are the guards. The guards are basically, this just has an addition, so they're very similar, easy to tell. And the kings are also very different, like I say. These actually both mean, I believe it's general and commander, because the kings of China didn't like the peasants using the word king in their game, so they had to be generals. And so they are very different. It is easy enough to learn the differences, especially since some of the more different pieces are confined. So you might notice that the pieces are placed on the intersections here. There's some helpful guidelines here to show you where pieces are placed at the start of the game. It is technically an 8x8 grid, but you play on the intersections, and there's this in the middle, the river, so it turns into about a 9x10 grid, 9 this way, 10 that way. And some of the pieces are fairly constricted. As you can see, here is a 9x9 block that is called the fortress, and the king can move orthogonally but is confined to the fortress. So the differences between the kings, the king is never going to get out of the fortress, so you know it's fairly easy to determine that. The guards also can only move diagonally in the fortress, and the elephants and ministers, which are also quite different, can only move 2 spaces diagonally in any direction. Exactly 2 spaces, and they can be blocked. They also can't cross the river, which means that they are limited to exactly 7 spaces on the board. So the fact that the pieces are very different to a Western player doesn't matter that much, because they won't be encountering them across the board. You're not going to run your elephant to your opponent's side of the board and suddenly suddenly get confused about which character is the elephant and which one is the minister. The chariot, as I say, is like a rook. It moves orthogonally in any number of spaces. The pawn here, this is a soldier, it moves 1 forward orthogonally, and once it crosses the river it can then move to the side. Just a bit different there. As you can see, you get fewer pawns here. The cannon can move any number of spaces orthogonally, but jumps over another piece to capture. So this cannon, for instance, an interesting thing is this cannon can jump over this cannon immediately and capture a horse in the first move of the game. Of course, the chariot would then immediately recapture, but that is a difference. There's an immediate capture as opposed to Western chess, where you probably have to go a couple moves without capturing. Although you can probably capture, if you're black, you can capture on your first move, depending on, second move, sorry. The object of the game is checkmate, the same as Western chess. Also, the horse moves the same as a knight, 1 space forward, 1 space diagonally, but can be blocked. So overall there's a lot less power in the set. So anyway, this is really a review of the set. It is very nice. I like the finish here. It is a bit wobbly in the center, as you've seen, but it isn't a problem really when playing. You just pick up the piece and set it down. The pieces again are nice. They stick very well. You can lift the game up and shake it and nothing happens. There we go. We've got the board entirely fine. The markings are all clear. There's nothing cluttering up the board. The fake wood, like I say, looks nice. It isn't great. I don't love it, but it's definitely better than it could have been. A standard stale gray wouldn't have been as nice in my opinion. Magnets stick well. The pieces don't feel like they're going to break. There's nothing you should do to have them break. They fit together nicely. They go together in the box very well. Overall, the package is great. It's a good quality set if you want to learn Chinese chess. It's one of the simpler sets, like I say, as some of the pieces are just identical. You don't have to learn as many Chinese characters, although you would have to learn some of them. It might not be the best starter set, but it's probably a very good starter set, especially for this size. They have one that is the 6-inch size here. This is I believe a 9-inch size. And the 6-inch, it's just harder to grasp. It's harder to move the pieces around on a board that size. This is a very good, not necessarily travel, although it is a very good travel set, but it might be a very good starter set for Chinese chess. Very sturdy. Overall, I'd say it's a good thing. It's a good thing to get. If you're looking to get into Chinese chess, this is a very nice introductory set, and I would definitely recommend it. Yep. And that is it. Thank you for watching. Bye.